this is a documentation of my experimental process working with liquid latex and wax as a fusion and exploring tactile intimacy and the translucent qualities of latex. I'll be showing how I created this large-scale latex sheet from raw materials into a second skin-like texture, and how I'm making a body cast from latex, transforming latex into wearable art beyond rubber. I'm taking you into my studio space and showing work that have been done on a few first test pieces with liquid latex, and I'll share what inspired me to work with latex in the first place. Which brings me to Heidi Bucher. Heidi Bucher was a Swiss artist known for her unique and innovative contributions to contemporary art. She gained recognition for her distinctive use of latex in creating sculptures and installations. Last October 2023, I have seen an exhibition with the works of Heidi Bucher at the Red Brick Museum in Beijing. Some of her large-scale latex work have been on show, and wow, they were absolutely mesmerizing. The texture of the room she captured with latex are so detailed, and learning about her technique was just so inspiring. Bucher is particularly celebrated for her skinning series, where she made casts of architectural spaces using latex, capturing physical and emotional imprints left on buildings and interiors. Her work explores themes of memory, identity, and the relationship between body and space. Before going into the more detailed process of making that latex sheet, I want to share some of my first test pieces with latex. Here I have been working on a body cast, specifically the back of the body. I started out with a first plain layer of cheesecloth that I brushed with latex. Later I laid out ropes and tubes onto that with another layer of cloth and embedded all with top layer of latex. When latex is dry, it turns transparent from an initial milky and white color. I did the sample piece to test how this could structurally work and how this body cast holds up, as latex is actually quite a soft material. In a similar technique, I embedded thin, fragile wax structures within latex. In this experiment, I didn't use any other material than wax and latex, so no fabric in between, no cheesecloth, but in fact there are many more layers of latex. Interestingly, the shape of this body cast holds quite well. I can't tell for sure, but this piece must have been at least 10 layers of latex. And here is another piece that I have put together with latex and wax as a top. But let's get into the main piece of this video. I have made a flax wax structure by hand previously, which you can see here, and secured it with a first layer of latex already. I have been working a lot with wax previously and testing it as a medium in a sculpture realm, which is why I want to see whether it's possible to embed wax with latex, exploring the boundaries of both materials. Instead of pouring latex, I am brushing it on in a relatively thin layer. The great thing is that latex dries really quickly, especially when it's such a thin coat. I'm just making sure that the latex is spread out evenly across the entire sheet. I'm also making sure that I'm pouring just the right amount of liquid latex into my bowl and not more than I actually need. The thing with latex is that once it's exposed to air, it starts drying and it basically forms a hard layer. Just leaving it exposed in your bowl you will end up eventually with some dried latex. So I usually cover my bowl with a plastic sheet that it's not drying out immediately, so I can work with it for a couple of days at least. And after everything is dry, I'm adding a final coat to it. It does look like the color of the latex is black, but that's mainly because my sheet below is black. The color of the latex is exactly the same to what you have previously seen in this video. Now I'm applying the third or maybe even fourth layer of latex, which is just the same procedure as before, and therefore gives me time to mention another artist that I love, especially for her experimental process to materials, and that is Eva Hesse, a prominent post-minimalist artist known for her innovative use of unconventional materials, including latex, in her sculptures. Eva's body of work is diverse, and while latex is a distinctive material in some of her sculptures, it is not the only medium she utilized. The latex material in her work often lends a sense of fragility and vulnerability. Hesse's work often challenged traditional artistic boundaries, and her pieces such as Expanded Expansion reflected her interest in organic shapes, fragile materials like latex, and a sense of process-oriented creation. In another piece of work entitled Right After, Hesse has worked with latex over rope, string, and wire. I have been interested in the idea of preservation, preserving materials and objects and structures. Working with latex is finally a way of protecting and preserving the fragile wax through this method of embedding it, which would otherwise break. I'm leaving you now with a few impressions and behind the scenes of my attempt to film this, putting my newly acquired fog machine to good use. I am ending here this video with a visual meditation, taking in a deep breath and immersing even deeper into the translucent textures of this latex work.